Hello guys and welcome back to another video on my channel. Now today's video, I'm doing a video which you guys have wanted me to do for a very long time now, and that is the Luton versus Watford video, where in this video I will explain the rivalry between both teams, explain a lot about it, because obviously we haven't played Watford in such a long time, and I feel like the younger supporters of both teams do not understand the rivalry at all. They don't understand what it means to both teams, and let's be honest, it's about time we played each other. 14 long years. Now I wanted to record this video today because I wanted to know when Luton and Watford will actually play each other, and obviously today the fixtures did get announced. It got announced this morning at 9 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and it came out that Watford will be hosting Luton on the 26th of September this year. I'm disappointed with that because it's the third game into the season. No fans will be at that game either, which is very disappointing to see. I feel like the younger supporters are missing out massively because they've not experienced this type of rivalry. And the same with the older supporters, if I'm honest. They've been wanting this game for a very long time now, and the fact that they won't even be able to go to the game is very upsetting for a few supporters. I'm gutted because I wanted to go to Watford. I wanted to be in that away end, but unfortunately it's not meant to be, and we'll probably all have to watch this on TV, because if this game is not on TV, it just shows you how uneducated Sky TV is if they do not put this game on TV. So this game, for me, has to be on TV for both set of fans and for the world to actually see what the Luton and Watford rivalry is really like. Because I do think a lot of fans, they don't understand that Luton and Watford are rivals because we haven't played each other in so long. And I will get onto that in the next few minutes in this video, but that's something which I believe it goes missing with a lot of football conversations in terms of discussing a rivalry. Luton and Watford never get mentioned, and it's really upsetting to see because there's a rivalry there and it's quite a good one. You just need to know about it. But first, where was the last time Luton and Watford played each other? Well, it was back in 2006 on the 9th of April, where Watford were at home, Luton were away from home, and obviously it was a 1-1 draw that day. Now this rivalry has two names. I don't know why, but it does. The first name is the M1 Derby, which a lot of fans and the media are referred to, but it can also be called the Betts Hearts Derby as well. I think the M1 Derby sounds a lot better. Both teams are on the M1. You drive past both teams on the M1, so it makes sense to call it the M1 Derby. Both teams are 19 miles apart from each other, so a very local game. It's not like a Brighton and Crystal Palace. It's a local game. It doesn't take long to get to Watford and it doesn't take long to get to Luton. Like I've said, 19 miles, it's not that far. How many times have Luton and Watford played each other? Well, 118 times. This is what I mean, the last 14 years Luton and Watford haven't played each other, but before that, 118 times. Who has won the most between these two teams? Of course, it's Luton. Luton have won 53 times. There's been 29 draws and Watford have won 36 times. What's the biggest victory between these two teams? Well, Luton have won 5-0 at home to Watford. This happened in 1926. Now, this is a very important stat which not many people actually know about Luton and Watford. Who has spent the most years in the top division? Now, obviously in the last 10 years, it's been clear as day, it's been Watford. However, over the course of both clubs being a football club, over the club's existence, Luton have spent 3 more seasons in the top flight than Watford. Luton have spent 16 seasons, while Watford have spent 13 seasons. Now, a lot of youngsters are probably thinking, how did this rivalry start? Now, in the local area, so Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, Luton and Watford are pretty much the only two long-serving football, professional football clubs in the areas. You think Buckinghamshire, there weren't any professional football clubs there. Bedford haven't really ever been competing at a top level. Stevenage didn't exist when Luton and Watford were playing each other back in in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I think Stevenage existed in the 70s. So it just shows you that Luton and Watford were the only two teams in the areas like nearby competing. So that's where it kind of started, you know. They were very close, two professional clubs close together. And apart from that, that's probably the main reason why. But also, like I've said, throughout the years, Luton and Watford played each other quite often. So a rivalry was formed that way round. Apart from that, I can't find any other information on why it started. But it's because two professional clubs in a nearby area, well, the only two professional football clubs in the nearby area competing, played each other quite a lot and a rivalry was formed. Now, a question which I think a few fans may be asking is what's going to be at stake here? Now, Watford have the bragging rights at this moment in time. Luton haven't beaten Watford since 2002 and that was in a cup game. Luton haven't beaten Watford in the league for a very long time. So it's about time that stat obviously doesn't exist anymore and it needs to happen this season. Luton beating Watford, and hopefully it can happen in the away fixture, the third game into this season. Like I said, Luton last beat Watford at their place in 2002. Luton won 2-1. Now, in the last 10 years, Watford fans will say they've been more successful than Luton. Some Luton fans will say Luton have been more successful. This is because, obviously, Luton have had to rebuild as a football club due to the previous owners. You know, the point deductions which we've had. That's the reason why we haven't actually played Watford in the last 14 years. Luton have had point deductions, so we've had to go from the Championship to non-league to the Championship, where Watford haven't had to do that. They've stayed in the Football League, basically, and they've had a lot of money pumped into them. They've spent a lot of years in the Premier League, and this is like the first time in a very long while that they're playing Championship football. So both clubs are in different situations at the moment. Luton don't have that much money, but are still competing in the Championship, where Watford have a lot of money and they are going to be favourites to get promotion this season in the Championship. So both teams want two different things. Luton probably need to stay in the Championship for a few more seasons, where Watford want to get back up to the Premier League as soon as they can, because they've got a lot of money. They've got players on thousands a week. Their players are worth millions. Compared to the Luton squad, we're nowhere near where Watford currently are. But like I said, this is due to Luton having to rebuild as a football club and Watford just having a lot of money pumped into them. Moving on to like the trophies. Now, when banter between both set of fans happen, trophies get mentioned quite a lot. Now, the reason why trophies get mentioned quite a lot is because Watford haven't really won anything as a football club. They've not won any major trophies in their history as a football club. And Luton used this to obviously mock Watford fans. And Watford probably used the fact that they've got a load of money to mock Luton fans. It's just, you know, back and forth like banter which you have between two set of fans. It happens all the time with every single club, you know, that general banter between two set of fans. Now, Luton won the League Cup, the famous League Cup, the Littlewoods Cup back in 1988. That's Luton's like major trophy which Luton obviously won. Luton were very unlucky during that time because Luton didn't get to play in Europe like we were meant to when you win that competition. England had a European ban, but Watford haven't won that competition and they haven't won the FA Cup. Luton haven't won the FA Cup either. Now, obviously, in recent years, people may say, like, but Watford have done really well in the FA Cup. They've only been to 2 FA Cup finals and Luton have been into 1 FA Cup final. So they've only been to 1 FA Cup final more than Luton, but they're still lost. Luton have still lost. Both teams have not won the FA Cup. Watford have been in the semi-finals a lot more than Luton have. So yeah, overall, regards to like the cup like competitions, Watford have done better in the FA Cup, but Luton have done better in the League Cup. But at the end of the day, Luton have won a major trophy, Watford haven't. And finally, the last bit of information which I'm going to tell you guys is what's the most like well-known game when talking about Luton and Watford. Now, in my personal opinion, now this is an opinion like view on what I think is the most like talked about Luton and Watford game, is back in 2002 where Luton won 2-1. Now, the reason why I'm saying this game is because there was a lot of trouble between both set of fans. Fights before the game, fights on the pitch, like before the game even started. That type of thing will never happen now. It's very unlikely that it will ever happen. But back then in 2002, when Luton won 2-1, Matt Spring, former Luton and Watford player, and Howard scored in that 2-1 victory. There was a lot of fighting that took place, and for Luton fans, that's probably one of the best games, like, against Watford. I don't know what the best game for Watford fans would be. I think maybe them beating us 4-0 at our place would be like their best fixture. But the most like talked about game, which I know as a Luton supporter and what I've seen online, is the 2-1 away win at Watford in 2002. Hopefully the youngsters who are watching this video understand why Luton and Watford are rivals and why Watford don't have any other rivals. I know, like, when Watford were in the Premier League, they tried to have a rivalry with Crystal Palace, and I know, like, throughout the years, Stevenage have tried to have a rivalry with Luton. At the end of the day, it's always going to be Luton and Watford having a rivalry. We've played each other over 100 times now, so the rivalry's there, the history's there. We just haven't played each other in a long time. But hopefully this season, and plenty more seasons to come, both teams play each other a lot more times, because, like, you can't beat a rivalry game. And I'm really disappointed to see that fans are not going to get the full experience because of fans being forced to watch the games behind closed doors. But hopefully in the home fixture in April in 2021, where Luton will host Watford, we will see some fans in the stadium. But I think a lot of Luton fans wanted to go to Watford to obviously beat them in their own backyard. But then again, Watford, they're not going to want to lose this game. It's a very important game. The rivalry's there. You know, it's very clear as day that it's going to be there. Hopefully both games are on TV for everyone to see, for the world to see, for people to understand that this game is a rivalry, and this is a rivalry which needs to be taken seriously, and it's not this typical Crystal Palace Brighton rivalry, which I don't even class as like a rivalry. It's a competitive one. There's a lot of stake, there's a lot of violence, there's everything about a rivalry. Luton and Watford have it. It's just, we just need the world to see this rivalry, and finally they will this season. That's the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Drop a like if you did. Comment down below your thoughts about this rivalry. Let me know, are you excited to play Watford? If there's a Watford fan watching this video, are you excited to play Luton? Try and keep the comments section clean. I don't want abusive comments in my videos. It will get removed if there are abusive comments in the video, so please do not do it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to become a member of my channel, make sure you click the link down below. And if you haven't already, guys, make sure you're following me across on my social media, and I'll see you guys in the next video.